Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're getting stuck into something really massive in the football world. Iran's journey, their whole campaign, to try and secure a place in the 2026 FIFA World Cup. It's huge over there. More than just sport, really. Okay, so let's unpack this a bit. We've been looking at material coming out around this dedicated channel called Iranian Cheetah, Yooz-e-Irani. And it's not just some fan site, right? It feels more like, well, like a mission statement. It really shows the intensity, the focus, the hope around the national team. So our job today is to kind of cut through the hype a little, look at the real picture. What are the challenges? Who are the key guys? And how tough is this long road they talk about?
Exactly. We're using their own narrative from this channel as a sort of lens, to see what the facts are on the ground. They're basically tracking every single step the team takes. The goal is clear. Cover everything moment by moment right up to 2026. But the real deep dive for us, I think, is understanding what that journey actually involves. The logistics, the competition, particularly in the Asian qualifiers, the AFC. It's notoriously tough.
That's a really key point because the source material, yeah, is full of optimism. They say Iran can shine as always, high hopes, but then straight away they hit you with, the road is long. That's quite blunt.
Yeah.
Why frame it like that, as this massive struggle right from the get-go?
Oh, it's interesting, isn't it? It's managing expectations, I think, but also fueling that passion. See, unlike, say, Europe or South America, the path through Asia for 2026, it's complex, really complex now with the bigger 48-team World Cup. It's not just a straightforward group anymore.
Okay, so paint a picture for us. For listeners who follow football but maybe aren't deep into the AFC specifics, what does long road actually mean in practice? What makes it so demanding, especially for a team like Iran that's usually expected to qualify?
Right, it means, well, multiple stages you have to get through. Asia gets more spots now, which is good, 8 direct places, plus a playoff chance. But Iran still has to survive this real gauntlet. After the early rounds, they hit a crucial phase. The top teams left get split into groups, and you have to finish first or second in those final groups for a direct ticket. That's the goal. Slip up, finish third or fourth. Then you're in this really stressful playoff system within Asia, and maybe then an intercontinental playoff against someone from, say, CONCACAF or Oceania. It's nail-biting stuff.
Wow. So it's not just about cruising past the lower-ranked teams. It's about consistently performing against the big boys. Japan, South Korea, Saudi Arabia, Australia, across a really long, drawn-out schedule.
Spot on. When the source says Asian rivals are always dangerous, that's not just hype, it's the reality. Iran's challenge historically hasn't always been reaching those final stages, but maintaining that top level against these other strong teams. Over maybe 9 high-pressure games in that final round, every single away game can be a potential disaster if you're not careful. So framing it as tough makes any eventual success feel, properly earned.
Yeah, I remember the tension around the 2018 qualifiers. You could feel it. Is the expectation even higher now? Because people talk about this current group of players as maybe Iran's best ever generation.
That's a fair point, and it ties into what the source material emphasizes. It clearly points to the players driving this hope. They name specific stars, saying they'll play a key role, and focusing on them tells you exactly where the weight of expectation is falling.
Right, and the names hammered home by this Iranian Cheetah channel are Taremi, Azmoun, and Godos. We know the names, but let's go a bit deeper. For our listeners who follow the game closely, what's a technical reason these three are seen as the absolute core? How do they actually work together on the pitch? Well, they form a kind of perfect attacking trident, really. You start with Mehdi Taremi. His goal record, especially in Europe with Porto, speaks for itself. Phenomenal finisher. He's usually the main threat in the box. Great movement, instinct, knows where the goal is. Then there's Sardar Azmoun, sometimes called the Iranian Messi, though maybe that's a bit much. He's more like a classic number 9.5, a deep-lying forward maybe. Azmoun's great at linking the play, dropping deeper, bringing others in, creating chances for Taremi. Their combination, their understanding, that's really the heart of Iran's attack.
Okay, so Taremi the finisher, Azmoun the creator, the link. Where does Saman Ghoddos fit?
He seems vital for connecting midfield to that attack, right? Especially playing in the Premier League with Brentford now.
Ghoddos is like the engine oil, the creative spark in midfield. Often plays as the attacking midfielder, just behind or maybe slightly wide of Azmoun. His form at Brentford, that proves his quality. He works incredibly hard. He can pick a pass under pressure, unlock defenses. If the team gets stuck transitioning the ball from defense to attack, which can happen, Ghoddos is the guy they look to. He's meant to solve that problem, keep things flowing.
But relying so heavily on just 3 players, that sounds risky, strategically, doesn't it? I mean, if the whole story, the tactics, everything revolves around Taremi, Azmoun, Ghoddos, What if Taremi gets injured or Azmoun has a bad patch during a massive qualifier? Does this Iranian cheetah narrative talk about depth, or is it all just star power?
That's precisely the tension, isn't it? The source material we're looking at definitely focuses on the brilliance of these individuals, which is great for morale, great for fans. But yeah, it probably does downplay the squad depth issue a bit. Iran has some solid defenders, experienced guys. But if one of those front three is out, the attack can look, well, a bit blunt. The whole system is built around their specific skills and chemistry. They often rely on one of them producing a moment of magic to break down those dangerous rivals.
Yeah, it feels very high stakes, betting the house on generational talent to pull them through.
Let's shift back to the coverage itself, though. Just the fact that a dedicated channel like this exists tells you how much this means nationally, the level of investment.
Oh, absolutely. Look at what the channel promises to deliver. It shows the huge appetite for constant, detailed information. They're talking in-depth tactical analysis of every single qualifier, constant player profiles, breaking news, even result predictions, total coverage. Right down to fun football moments, alongside the serious tactics. It's like total immersion, which, okay, makes sense for a really passionate, knowledgeable fan base. But what does that mix tell us? The fun stuff alongside the deep analysis.
To everyone. The hardcore fan who wants formation debates, and also the supporter who's more emotionally invested, wants the highlights, the celebrations. Mixing it up keeps the narrative going, keeps people engaged, even during the gaps between those really high-pressure matches. And the really crucial thing here, I think, is the sheer intensity of the spotlight this creates. Promising to cover every step and give moment-by-moment news, that's not just good journalism. It shows the kind of pressure cooker these players are in. Every single thing they do becomes instant national news, analyzed minute by minute.
Yeah, that ramps up the stakes massively. Every pass, every substitution, every tactical tweak gets put under the microscope by this dedicated media machine. The margin for error just vanishes. And that links straight back to those tough Asian rivals you mentioned.
Totally. Think about playing a league game for your club in Europe versus playing one of these qualifiers for Iran. It's night and day pressure-wise. In the qualifier, there's no safety net. If they come up against South Korea, who are always so organized, or maybe Qatar, playing at home with amazing facilities, the whole campaign could swing on 90 minutes. And that pressure is just amplified by all this constant, dedicated coverage.
This intense focus on the front three. Does it risk ignoring the defense and midfield? They're just as important against top teams, surely. Is the narrative maybe a bit too top-heavy?
It's always a potential risk, yeah. They do have good, solid defenders, people with experience, but the overall story, the narrative, seems to be about outscoring teams, rather than, say, defensive solidity being the foundation. Historically, Iran sometimes struggles to keep the ball against the very best Asian sides, so the defense ends up under sustained pressure. If the midfield can't win those key battles, even the brilliance of Taremi and Azmoun might not be enough. The plan, judging by the Cheetah Channel's focus, seems to be stay solid, absorb pressure, then hit them fast on the counter using the stars.
Okay, so wrapping this up, what's the big picture for you, the listener? Follow this. Iran's road to 2026 looks defined by this amazing attacking talent, huge national hope. But it's really set against the backdrop of this incredibly tough AFC qualifying process. And the narrative being built by channels like Yooz-e-Irani seems to be banking on individual brilliance to solve a complex structural challenge.
Yeah, the takeaway is that this isn't just about qualification. It's a national drama, meticulously documented. It's a statement that this team, led by these stars, can finally overcome those old hurdles and beat increasingly strong rivals. Success won't just be measured in wins, but in whether this incredibly detailed coverage can keep the passion burning for potentially 2 whole years.
Absolutely. It's a fascinating setup. The pressure itself is almost another opponent. Which leaves us with a final thought for you to chew on as you watch the results come in. Given how hard the AFC qualifiers actually are, you need depth, you need defense, you need results away from home. Does all this media and fan focus on Taremi, Azmoun, and Ghoddos on their individual genius, does it actually make it harder for the team? Does it put too much pressure on those few guys while maybe distracting from building the strength of the whole squad needed to beat those always dangerous rivals? Team versus stars. It'll be really interesting to see which defines this journey in the end.